What happens when the science we rely on to convict the guilty and protect the innocent starts to fail? In the UK, forensic science is facing a crisis. Capacity is shrinking, expertise is under strain, and systemic weaknesses threaten justice itself. But that's only part of the picture. There is another dimension to justice that rarely makes the headlines: false accusations. Lives can be upended when allegations are made and later proven false, yet there is little policy support and often no recognition of the human cost. In today's news session, we will cover both, two sides of the same coin, both affecting real people and both demanding attention.
Welcome to Spoken Injustice, where we put the criminal justice system in the dock. Today we are looking at two vital stories: the crisis facing forensic science in our courts and the serious consequences of false allegations. Both matter, both demand our attention. So settle in and let's begin. We are opening this month's news session with an issue that has increasingly commanded our attention and concern: the state of forensic science in the UK. We have explored this to a certain extent in a recent video, which I strongly recommend you to watch as a starting point. In our news session last June, we reported on a major development: the publication of a report called Forensic Science in England and Wales Pulling Out of the Graveyard Spiral by the Westminster Commission on Forensic Science, established by the APPG on miscarriages of justice. The report delivered a stark warning, as we said at the time. It concluded that forensic science in England and Wales is in a deep and systemic crisis, describing the sector as caught in a graveyard spiral. A vicious circle of declined capacity, deteriorating quality, market instability, and structural weaknesses that directly threaten the delivery of justice. Among its findings were deeply troubling trends: a near monopoly among commercial forensic providers, a shrinking and overstretched skilled workforce, the rapid expansion of police in-house forensic testing, raising serious concerns about scientific independence, and as a consequence, an increased risk of wrongful convictions, unsurprisingly, and unresolved crimes. As we highlighted at the time, the Commission did not simply diagnose the problem, it issued urgent recommendations for reform. These included stabilising the forensic services market, halting further expansion of police in-house supervision, establishing a national forensic institute, and improving access to expert forensic science for the defence. Against this backdrop, and following both its 2019 report called Forensic Science and the Criminal Justice System: A Blueprint for Change, and the 2025 Westminster Commission report, the House of Lords Science and Technology Committee launched a follow-up inquiry into forensic science. That inquiry is ongoing. Crucially, it is explicitly building on the Westminster Commission's findings, examining whether the problems identified have been addressed or whether they remain entrenched. The inquiry is particularly scrutinising governance, funding, research and development, digital forensics, accreditation and regulation, and market resilience, precisely the fault lines identified in the Westminster Commission's report. At its heart, This inquiry is about the future of forensic science in the UK. What solutions are viable, how the system should be funded, how innovation in areas such as digital forensics and AI should be supported, and what policy decisions must be taken now to avert further decline. The committee has been hearing evidence from forensic scientists, service providers, regulators, and government ministers. Last week, it heard from Sarah Jones MP, Minister for Policing and Crime at the Home Office. One point of particular importance was her confirmation that the ultimate responsibility for forensic science lies with the Home Office. She stressed while the Ministry of Justice has an important role, the Home Office holds that accountability. That is why what followed was deeply concerning. The minister painted a bleak picture of a system in which the Home Office appears to be second-guessing forensic science itself.
So to the question about who takes ultimate responsibility, I think that the Home Office has ultimate responsibility for forensics and the priorities and the provision of them to ensure that the policing and the prosecution systems function as they should. Obviously the MOJ is very important in terms of its role as well, but I think it's the Home Office that has the ultimate lead, and I'm the Home Office Minister with responsibility. So I think the buck stops with us and with me. The thing that I think I found most shocking as a new minister in this space is the lack of real understanding of what's actually going on across the country on forensics. We don't actually know how much money is spent. We don't actually know how many delays there are. We don't actually know the balance between the private sector and the in-house. We are trying, and as Amanda said, she is going around trying to understand what the landscape is, so we know what the ground zero point is. And if we can have performance data where we have standardisation of what is expected and what is good practice and what all forces should be doing, we can shine a light on forensics in a way that we just can't at the moment. We're second guessing, informed, but we don't have a lot of the data.
A position that should alarm anyone concerned with evidence-based justice. Her words should be read in the context of what the inquiry has already uncovered. In 2024, a single private company dominated 86% of the forensic services market, placing it in an effective near monopoly. That company is owned by an overseas corporation that has faced serious allegations of financial irregularities from hedge funds. And in 2019, it paid a ransom to criminals following a cyber attack. Alongside this, police forces have continued to expand in-house forensic work, while the imbalance between prosecution and defense access to forensic expertise has widened dramatically. The pool of independent experts has been reduced to a bare minimum. Reform proposals now point towards the creation of a national oversight body, but serious questions remain as to whether these measures go far enough or fast enough to arrest the decline. All of this is captured in a short but powerful video published on the Forensic Science in Crisis YouTube channel, which I strongly encourage you to watch.
The unavoidable conclusion here is pretty stark. When this kind of scientific expertise is allowed to just erode away, the risk of miscarriages of justice, of the innocent being convicted and the guilty walking free, that risk inevitably goes up.
The choice of an American accented AI narrator may raise an eyebrow, but it's worth getting past that. The link is in the description below, along with a link to the Forensic Science in Crisis YouTube channel. It is important to note that this is not a technical issue. It is a justice issue. If forensic science fails, the criminal justice system fails with it. Our call to action today is evident. Watch the video, engage with the evidence through the YouTube channel, share it with your networks, and help keep pressure on policymakers to act. The future of forensic science and the integrity of justice itself depends on informed scrutiny and substantial public attention. But while forensic science is finally receiving heightened scrutiny and policy focus with parliamentary inquiries, expert testimony and major reports diagnosing systemic failure, the issue of false accusations remains largely overlooked. One is now the subject of intense public and political debate, and by contrast, the other persists in the shadows with little policy attention or support for those affected. A recent news story highlights this clearly. A woman has been jailed in the UK for falsely accusing 3 people of rape, a stark reminder that the justice system can be weaponized and that people's lives and reputations can be destroyed without accountability. According to a recent BBC article, a woman was convicted after authorities concluded that her allegations against 3 individuals were fabricated. This isn't a minor charge. False allegations of serious crimes like rape can lead to investigations, arrests, bail conditions, if not imprisonment, job loss, family breakdown, social stigma, and even threats against the accused. This case is one example, but is far from the only one. Official data on false accusations is limited and contested. Authorities, including the Crown Prosecution Service, have previously reported that proven false allegations of rape are rare, often cited around 3 to 4% of reported cases. But here is the crucial point. Rare in statistical terms does not mean insignificant in human terms. Even a small percentage can translate into hundreds or thousands of lives profoundly damaged. Moreover, some researchers argue that official figures understate the scale of the problem because they count only cases that are proven to be false in court. You may remember our earlier conversation with Felicity, where we touched on this very issue. If you haven't seen yet, I highly recommend watching our full discussion with Felicity Stryjak to learn more about her mission to challenge some of the myths surrounding it. The video is linked in the description below, and so is the link to her very interesting database. This concern is echoed in the words of Detective Superintendent Humphreys, quoted in the BBC article. It is not often that the force makes the decision to prosecute in these circumstances for many different reasons, including any vulnerabilities faced by the person making the allegation. Taken together, this suggests a policy environment in which false allegation cases are rarely pursued, not because they do not exist, but because there is a reluctance to prosecute them. Our justice system struggles to capture the true measure of false accusation harm. False accusations happen in many contexts, From sexual offences to defamation scandals, these situations leave lasting damage on those accused, even after exoneration. The impact of false accusation can be devastating. Loss of job, relationships, social standing, mental health trauma, and even suicide or social violence have been linked to people wrongly accused. Few stories in recent memories capture the tragic human cost of false accusations like that of Jay Cheshire. This story is often told from the perspective of Camille Cheshire, Jay's sister, who endured an unimaginable loss in just 1 year. At 17, Jay faced rape allegations that were later withdrawn. But even after the allegations were cleared, the impact on his life was devastating. In 2015, Jay took his own life. The pain of his loss was so profound that heartbreakingly, his mother Karen too committed suicide on the anniversary of his passing. Camille was left to navigate a world without her brother and her mother, a stark reminder of the irreparable harm that false allegations can inflict, not just on individuals, but on entire families. Despite these harms, there is no comprehensive UK government policy addressing false accusations. No dedicated support for the falsely accused, no guaranteed compensation system, no specialised legal aid framework, and importantly, no balanced public discussion that respects both genuine victims and the rights of those accused. This isn't about balancing one side against the other. It's about ensuring justice is fair, humane, and evidence-based for everyone. Government and activist groups often emphasize that false accusations are rare, but that framing ignores the lived reality of those affected and the broader consequences for justice and trust in institutions. When a society treats false allegation as negligible, it ignores the harm and it discourages a balanced criminal justice conversation. There are grassroots organisations offering support to those wrongly accused, from emotional guidance to independent legal advice, like the False Allegations Support Organisation, International Falsely Accused Day, Facing Allegations in Contexts of Trust, Empowering the Innocent, Falsely Accused Network, and of course, Spoken Injustice. But these are not official government services. They are volunteer-run and dependent on donations. And that gap is telling. The state has no formal mechanisms for protecting or assisting people who have been falsely accused, even though the consequences are life-altering. False accusations, especially in sensitive crimes, deserve to be part of the national conversation on justice reform. We must demand balanced data collection, government support and safeguards for the falsely accused, fair legal processes that protect both genuine complainants and the falsely accused, public education that doesn't pit victims against each other. Justice isn't served by ignoring half the harm in the system. If you believe this issue deserves more visibility, share this video, engage in the discussion below, and demand better public policy. not silence. It also seems appropriate at this point and in this context to give you a quick update on our Your Voice Matters campaign. You might have noticed that it's slowed down a bit recently. That's because we rely on the generosity of our guests who participate voluntarily and without pay. Many have been busy with work and the holiday season, but we have not forgotten it. Behind the scenes, we're still working hard to bring forward the voices of those affected by this issue. Today, we have explored two critical issues at the heart of justice: the crisis in forensic science and the often overlooked consequences of false accusations. Both affect real people, both reveal cracks in our system, and both demand our attention. Justice isn't just about convicting the guilty. It's about protecting the innocent, ensuring fairness, and holding our institutions accountable. If these issues matter to you, share this video, join the conversation, subscribe to our channel, and help keep pressure on those with the power to make change. Join us again as we sit and rise in this unique trial.